What's up, everyone? It's time for the AEW Collision post show here on Fightful. The Continental Classic continues, and we're breaking it down and giving you our thoughts on the show. Rick and Cresta could not join us tonight, but there is no need to worry because I am joined by Phil Lindsey and SP3. And first of all, guys, I want to apologize because I think that your Collision cowboy hats got lost in the mail. So really sorry about that. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. Phil, how have you been?
I'm good. If you watched Grapsy this morning, you know that I have been dealing with technical issues for my laptop. It is on its last legs. I can feel it happening as we speak, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to replace this laptop. It's happening, and boy, it's not been fun. But it is what it is. At least it's not making that buzzing noise it was making earlier. So,
Oh, yeah,
knock
no.
on wood.
Wow.
SP3, it's great to chat with you again. Thanks so much for being able to join us tonight. How are you?
I am doing splendid. We had a good episode of Collision, and they did it in front of a smaller crowd. That's all I ask. Just do a smaller building. You have a hot crowd. It looks good. It looks good on TV. So I like tonight's episode. Glad to talk about it with y'all.
Yeah, and everyone just tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, I'll remind you that if you want your comment read on the screen, definitely send us a super chat, send us a humper chat. We will feature it down here. We'll chat about it because we want to know what you thought about the show tonight. And yeah, Phil, before we start talking about the matches, SP3, you mentioned that venue, the Galaxy Con in Ohio, great crowd tonight, right? And it was also just like pleasing to look at.
Yeah, I think they should do more things like this. I think this is what worked about the Arlington residents as well. That it looks better when you have like a full smaller arena. The sound in there is better. I think that they should do more stuff like this with Collision.
Yeah, SP3, what do you think?
I honestly think they should do it across the board for all TV because they ran I think the arena in Fishers, Indiana was like 7,500 with their production like 5,000. They had 3,000 people in there. It was one of the loudest Dynamite crowds in weeks. So I think like across the board, their TV should be in these type of buildings because it just makes it feel like a whole party again. It feels that party vibe that AEW had when it first started in 2019. You get a little bit of that from this week of television in smaller buildings.
Yeah, it was really nice to see. I think they also got some really, really good crowd shots, which got me excited as while I was watching. I'm like, wow, like everybody's super excited about the matches that are happening. And it shows, and I love when you get to see the crowd excited and into wrestling like that. So I hope that they have more events in these smaller venues. Because like you guys said, it really showcases not only the audience, but it showcases the wrestlers at the end of the day. So yeah. Let's talk about the first match. We got to see Darby Allin versus Komander, who was the replacement for Juice Robinson because Juice got injured. And this was a Gold League match in the Continental Classic tournament. Komander hit this beautiful springboard moonsault to Darby on the outside. And it seems like they were both very evenly matched, which I was excited because I feel like Darby sometimes feels like a luchador. I feel like he's up, he's dynamic, he's really quick, and he's up there. And then Darby involves a chair. And SP3, we know the rule, right? You set it up, you go through it. What were your thoughts on that spot?
Oh my God. It's Darby Allin. So we expect him to have one spot that makes you wince, that makes you cringe. And he had about 3 of them in this damn matchup. The chair spot, the monkey flip that he took on the apron, the little shot where he went into the barricade and then Komander came off the steps with like a side kick. This was just so much fun. This was like a mix of the lucha libre style high flying that Komander does and the just put your body and use it as a weapon high flying that Darby Allin does, and it meshed so well here. And this was a really fun opener that kind of exceeded my expectations, and the crowd added a lot to it as well.
Yeah, Phil, this isn't new for Darby, right? We know what you're going to get when you see Darby Allin in a match. Was it the smart choice for him to include the chair in a tournament like this?
It absolutely was not. The way he slammed it to the chair, I was like, dude, it's okay, man. Darby, we don't have to do this every time. And so he actually won with a technical wrestling move. And I was like, yeah, you can win the matches without trying to harm yourself.
Yeah.
Just out wrestle the other guy. But yeah, I was wondering how this match was going to work because he does do kind of a high flying, high risk style. and I was wondering how these styles were going to mesh, and it turns out pretty good.
Yeah, pretty well. I'm telling you, I feel like in another life, Darby Allin was a luchador, and he was in AAA, and he was just doing all his flips, and 10 out of 10 always. But yeah, Darby picked up the win, and he's moving forward in, I guess, I mean, when he brought out that chair, I was like, sir, you don't need to, because even if you lose, you still got to wrestle next week. Like,
But I just love how it escalated because he started off the match like he's wrestling like Hechicero to start off the match. He's doing like the little grapple moves. He's doing like the little Lamati Scarlet Cradle, and he's doing all this technical ability. Then he's like, all right, that's not working. Let me just throw a chair in here. And then it's just all high flying from there on out. That's why I love Darby Allin. Darby Allin is in my top 5 favorite all-time TV wrestlers because anytime he's on TV, you know it's going to be something entertaining or at least something that you remember, at least a bump he takes. So,
absolutely. I'm going to be thinking about that chair for the next couple weeks because the way that they just zoomed in on the broken hinges, like that chair was done, absolutely done. And I said, Darby, you weigh probably like 120 pounds maybe. And he went full force at that. So I hope he doesn't feel it too much tomorrow. But let's go to the backstage segment that happened right after. We got Don Callis with Takeshita, and they were being interviewed by Renee. And Hobbs comes out of nowhere. He was very, very upset. Guys, was he justified in his feelings? He was talking about, Don, you haven't called me. You didn't email me. I was injured. You didn't even check up on me. And I want that championship now. Phil, what are your thoughts on Hobbs now trying to face Takeshita for this championship?
Well, for one, I just want the match because that sounds awesome. But also, he has a point. Like, he was a part of the Don Callis family, and Don has shown multiple times that it's not really about helping his clients. It's about him. And so he's looking around like, yo, if this was really about us and you helping promote people, where were you? You weren't trying to help me while I was injured. When I came back, I didn't hear from you at all. I had to come look for you.
SP3, what did you think? Do you think Hobbs was justified?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Don Callis is one of the most selfish, sneaky, slimy promoters that we've had in wrestling in quite some time. He's
janky promoter.
Exactly. He's a janky, no good mudslinging promoter. so I like this with Hobbs, and this is exactly what I wanted. I said a few weeks ago, I was like, Hobbs should go after Takeshita for the international championship. You know, we gotta swallow the fact that we don't have those two in the Continental Classic, so at least have them go at it with each other for the international championship.
Yeah, and you know what? It does feel like Hobbs was kind of an afterthought in the group. You have Takeshita, who Don Callis has really elevated. I was really worried about where Takeshita was going to go because I feel like when you were in the Don Callis family, you were just kind of in the Don Callis family, and it was kind of like the Jericho Society, the Appreciation Society, and you just kind of like didn't do anything. But now look at where Takeshita is. Look at where Kyle Fletcher is. Like, these guys are probably the top of AEW, or they're working towards being the top. But I'm very impressed by Takeshita and by Kyle. So maybe this is where it's time to be impressive for Hobbs. So it might work out. I would hope that Takeshita keeps that title if it is a title match, because I think it's too soon to take it off of him. But I don't think that this match is not going to be a good match. I look forward to this match.
Yeah, well, he's got a big match coming up at Wrestle Kingdom. I don't see him losing this belt.
I was just about to mention. I was like, he's got 2 big matches, Tokyo Dome weekend, because he's got Shingo Takagi for the Never Openweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom, and then if he wins that, he versus Tomohiro Ishii for the Never Openweight Championship, and it's supposed to be a double title match if he's still international champion. So I think we might get 2 belt Takeshita by the end of the Tokyo Dome.
That's something I would love to see. I have my Takeshita shirt on. You guys can't see it, but 10 out of 10. Love it. All right, let's move on to some ladies action, which if you watch Collision, you know this is rare. We don't got a lot of women's matches in the first hour unless your name is Thunder Rosa. But Willow is also, good at that. So we got to see Willow and Serena Deeb. This was a Wrestle Dynasty International Women's Cup qualifier semifinal match. That was literally so much. had to go back to write everything down. I had to rewind my Hulu, and I was like, I got to get all that.
It really felt like Arcady Aura needed like an upgrade after saying all of that. Like she literally, it almost was like she malfunctioned in the middle. Like Wrestle Dynasty International Women's Cup qualifier tournament semifinal match. I was like, that's a whole sentence for a one match.
And no cue card. No cue card. Memorization. They better be making the big bucks there for memorizing all that. For this match, it was really technique versus power on this one. I think Serena really picked up her speed in the second half of the match, but the crowd was all about Willow. I'm also guilty. I'm also all about Willow. There was one moment where Willow slammed Serena into like the corner on all the turnbuckles, and then kind of power slammed her into the mat. And I thought that was it, and it wasn't. But then we saw the pounds, and it was a done deal. I love the pounds. It's like an RKO out of nowhere, 10 out of 10. And now Willow gets to face Jamie next week at Winter is Coming. Phil, I'll start with you. What did you think about this match?
I hated that Serena has fallen into this thing that we've seen other people that get into it with Britt do, where Britt throws a jab at them and then they try to turn it into a t-shirt. Guys, stop doing this. It never works. It doesn't make Britt look bad. It makes you look gotten to. Stop doing it.
I'm dead.
And she wore a shirt that said "Nobody cares" and pointed up to her. That is not you using what she said against her and making it into a cool thing for you to tell a t-shirt. You're literally telling the fans at home and watching in the building that nobody cares about you. Like what?
Okay, I'm glad that you guys mentioned the t-shirt. I wasn't going to say anything, but the arrow pointing up at the nobody cares had me confused because I was like, okay, nobody cares about Serena. Is Serena the nobody? I would have just worn a shirt that says, I don't care. Like, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. And maybe that's why she lost the match tonight because of the t-shirt. But how did we feel about Willow tonight? Do we like her advancing in this tournament? SP3, are you excited to see more of Willow?
Oh, this is exactly the match I wanted. Willow Nightingale and Jamie Hayter is two of my favorites in the entire women's division. They should always present them as stars. I'm looking forward to this match next week on Collision. I watch all of AEW, so this is perfectly fine. But this match kind of feels like the time you could have done two women's matches on Dynamite. I'd much rather have seen Jamie Hayter versus Willow Nightingale next Wednesday than Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly, and I can't believe I'm saying that. If little ROH fan SP3 heard me say that, he wouldn't believe it. But he didn't have to sit through AEW Dynamite over the last couple of weeks with the Undisputed Era drama. So I'm over it. Put it on Collision. Put Jamie Hayter and Willow Nightingale on Dynamite. But I thought this match was pretty good. I like the another kind of meshing of styles here with the more technical Serena versus the more power of Willow. And I love the fact that they paid off the little rope spot because I was getting annoyed. I was like, Willow, you swinging mad late as she goes by, but they paid it off in the end where she learned from that first time doing it and she hit the pounce and then got the win. So I like the way they paid that off.
Yeah. Phil, I know you're a fan of Willow. What'd you think about this?
I thought it was good. I thought that the worst thing you could say about the match is that it felt a bit predictable. Because we kind of all figured that Willow was going to win this match, but Deeb wrestled a very strong match. When she hit the detox and we got that near fall, I was like, oh, great. They let her get a lot of offense in. This wasn't just like a quick match, get her out of here. This was a good showcase for Deeb of what she can do. I think Deeb is one of the best wrestlers in the division in terms of in-ring. I think she should be on TV more. I hate that we haven't gotten a match with Deanna yet because that just seems like a perfect matchup for the two of them. But this match was good. As always, Willow does very good with the comeback spots, firing up, pulling the strap down, hitting the pounce, Dr. Bomb, and gets the win. I'm picking Willow to go to the finals for this thing, so this wasn't much of a shocker for me, but I did enjoy the match other than the whole shirt thing because
you said I was thinking about that shirt the whole match.
Because the thing that bothers me the most about the shirt is not so much just like, all right, I'm going to try and turn this into a positive for me. it just doesn't work because I don't think the audience cares. And then if there is no match to pay this off, why are you doing it? Like, don't
Yeah.
don't draw attention to something that you're not going to go back to on your TV show.
Yeah. And talk about,
Which too many people in this company have done this before. And I'm just like, if you're not going to work a match, don't do that.
Yeah. This happens way too often here. I do want to ask Iridian, though, who you got next week? Jamie Hayter or Willow Nightingale?
That's crazy. I love Jamie Hayter, really big fan of her. And I think the power levels are going to be so crazy. I'm always going to favor Willow. No, I mean, I truly love Jamie, but I'm always going to root for Willow, and I honestly think she should hold all the titles, men's and women's. So that's I will firmly stand on that all the time. But let's get to this super chat. Lady B sent in, as someone who works in PR, AEW is confusing to me. Why are they acting like New Japan doesn't exist? Tony's time in Japan, Kenny's return, the Bucks getting a title shot, and even Ricochet versus Zack Sabre Jr. Wild. Guys, thoughts on this? We just talked about how, Takeshita has some matches coming up, and it seems like AEW doesn't really talk about that on Collision or Dynamite. They kind of just talk about it in recaps, if anything.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done a big video package for Wrestle Dynasty yet. It's about 3 weeks away. I thought that we were going to get something by now, and we haven't. The reason I don't think we've done the Kenny one is because I think that Kenny's going to show up on Dynamite before the end of the year. Just a hunch, because otherwise, why wouldn't you talk about Kenny coming back somewhere else other than you planning to do something with him before the end of the year? That's just my guess, because you don't want to promote him showing up in a ring somewhere else if you're planning on using him for something.
Yeah. SP3, what do you think?
It is very strange because New Japan kind of does give the big push to Forbidden Door when that happens. And that's really kind of like an AEW first type event. And this is New Japan kind of doing their version of it for Wrestle Dynasty. The only issue that I see of why they haven't is because of how close together is the World's End plus the premiere on Max. Then that same week is Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Kingdom. So maybe they're waiting until that January 1st show to kind of finally make a mention of it and promote the big matches on the show. I can understand that, but there is some time that they can make to kind of promote certain things. Like, even if it's just in that interview, Renee being like, oh, you're on your way to Japan, you're going to versus Shingo Takagi for the Never Openweight Championship. It's going to be title versus title. How do you feel? Instead of asking the same question for I think it's 3 interviews straight with Takeshita of, you just beat Ricochet, what's next for you? I was like, she literally asked that the last time they interviewed him. I was like, stop it.
Renee, we need to get some new questions. I agree with you guys. I think for me, and I guess if it would be easy if you kind of make a small video package, you throw it in there. You don't even have to say anything, but now the audience knows. But same thing, Renee could say something small like that when she's doing interviews. Commentary could mention something while they're having their match. I mean, I know we're going to talk about it, but Beast Mortos had a 20-second match. You're not telling me you couldn't have filled that with a promo, a little backstage segment, anything. Phil, 3 weeks away. I honestly didn't even realize it was that close. We're probably not going to get anything till a couple days before to mention or promote that show, but it is what it is. I guess that's just AEW.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they don't want to mention stuff that they already have, storyline reasons. You have storyline reasons why the Bucks are not on TV, for example. So you don't want to reference them being in the title match somewhere else until the end of this year, because you don't want to draw attention to them being somewhere else. And that's why I'm assuming they've got to have something planned with Kenny. That's the only reason why I would assume they wouldn't draw attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. I would love them to mention, at least if Ricochet makes it to the Final Four at World's End, they should mention the possibility that we might get a G1 winner versus a C2 winner at Wrestle Dynasty. if Ricochet wins the tournament and he faces Zack Sabre Jr. because that's a pretty big deal. So I hope that at least on our way to World's End, if he does make it that far, they make some mention that that's a possibility of a big match to happen. But you guys are probably right. We're probably going to get some video package the same week, and that's good. If it's as good as the Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May video package on this show, then I'll be okay with that. I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, Lady B, for that super chat. Guys, remember, you can also send your ideas and questions in, and we will feature them on the screen. But I know we talked about Renee. She was busy tonight. We got another backstage interview segment with her and Thunder Rosa, and Thunder was ready to go. She was talking about Mina. She was excited to be able to face her, but she went on to talk about Mariah May. She pulled out a list from inside of her shirt, and she basically called her a bad friend, a dream taker. She said she had no sparkle or shine. And then she said, you know what? Good luck, because you're going to need it. And I was like, oh, okay. I honestly have to rewind it back a couple times because she was speaking so fast in Spanish. I did not catch everything. But honestly, that's all you need to know, because there was some other things that were said, and I don't think that I could have translated them to do them justice. So so it is what it is. The Thunder Rosa. I'm glad that we're seeing her more frequently. What do you guys think? Phil, we'll start with you.
Yeah, they brought in a lot of the original OG Collision people with Willow. Willow was featured a lot in Collision in the early few months. Same thing with Thunder Rosa. When she came back, she was on Collision quite often. So this felt like more like the old times of bringing these women to be featured heavily on here. It seems like they're pushing heavily for Thunder Rosa to be the title defense for Mariah, possibly at World's End, which I think is the right move. I think she's been overdue for a big pay-per-view match. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. SP3, what did you think?
I 100% agree. I mean, I'm like one of the biggest Thunder Rosa fans out here, so I always love seeing Thunder Rosa on my screen, and I think that she's been very much kind of underused since her return to AEW television, and she's always kind of been entertaining or in enjoyable stuff, whether it be the Deonna Purrazzo feud, whether it be the hilarious feud with Harley Cameron and her cousin Harley Graham, who was trained by El Generico. But now she can move on to the world title scene, back to the world title and her focus. And I love the fact that she mentioned she got 2 wins. She got wins over Rose Gold. So she should be in line, be the next one to get the winner of this matchup.
Yeah, I love that she brought that up. She's like, let's do the numbers. She's like, let's talk about this math. I beat you once, and then I beat you also once. So technically that puts me in the number 1 spot. And I said, you know what, girl, that maths to me. So 10 out of 10. And yeah, I'm hopeful that she gets in that position to be the champion, because she's an OG Collision girly, and you've put that title on her before, and she's done so well. I don't think that she got the shine that she needed when she was champion, though. So hopefully this time around she gets that title and they really do something with it, because you can't blame the wrestlers all the time. Sometimes you gotta blame management.
Yeah, we'll just forget about things like that Vicky Guerrera thing when she started her reign, and some of those bad decisions that they made. But you know,
the Serena Deeb Dustin Rhodes promo segment in the ring, I remember that one too. But I'm so glad that I'm doing this post show today, because I would have never known what Thunder Rosa said if it wasn't for Iridian. Because I was just sitting at home. I grew up in Spanish Harlem, so I've heard Spanish women rant like that, and all I could say is sucio. Ooh, ooh. I didn't have no idea what she said, but I was like, it sounded spicy as hell. It sounded dirty.
Well, let me tell you, that's what it was. But yeah, let's move on to the Death Riders in the ring. Terrible theme song, terrible choice for Wheeler Yuta to be in this group. I'm so ready for him to be a face, because I don't know why people keep booing him. Like, it makes no sense to me. But Mox gets in there and he's like, let's talk Ohio. Let's talk about how people don't want to be AEW champion, because there's lots of them. And I was like, sir, let us get a drink of water first. Let us have a little snack. He just got to it, calling everybody out. Phil, he basically told everybody backstage, you don't want none of this smoke. Do you agree with everything that he says, that like people are not ready to be champion?
there's a lot of stuff that I think is working well for the Moxley stuff. I will not let you besmirch the great Death Rider theme song. His
Oh my,
New Japan theme song is much better than Wild Thing. It's his best. It's his best theme song post WWE. I
oh,
will not hear any of this slander of that great
crazy,
theme song.
crazy.
Will not hear any of this Death Rider slander. But Yuta Yuta had the chance to leave this group with Brian, and he decided to stay and let these people continue to bully him. This is his fault. And he keeps letting these guys bully him every week. And I'm like, bro, stand up for yourself. What is this? And so, but I do love that he's still doing the Brian stuff, still wearing the Brian cargo pants and the t-shirt. He's growing his beard out like Brian. That is one of my favorite bits in wrestling right now. Cheating and beating people with the Busaiko knee every time. I'm like, this is just so disrespectful, but I love it. And when he does eventually stand up for himself and turn babyface, it's going to be great for him. Looking forward to that, but you don't have to take this every week, Yuta. It's okay. You don't have to keep taking this. You can't stand up for yourself, my man.
He deserves it. We shouldn't be rooting for Wheeler Yuta. We shouldn't say stand up for himself. This is what he wanted. He was by the side of the greatest wrestler of all time, and the greatest wrestler of all time decides to call it a day, call it a career, and he turns his back on him, tried to suffocate a man who believes in pure energy. He's put a plastic bag over his face. That is cruel and unusual punishment. Wheeler Yuta is like one of Joel Goldberg's girlfriends who's trapped in the glass cage on you and then falls in love with Joel Goldberg. He is with the villains. He fell in love with his capturers. Wheeler Yuta is not worthy of any cheers.
Big Stockholm Syndrome vibes, man.
First of all, I can't believe you guys are talking about this, about Wheeler Yuta. What I will say is that he doesn't know better because he's traumatized, because I myself am traumatized. I was there. I witnessed them holding Yuta back as they placed a bag over Bryan Danielson and nearly, I don't know if I can say the word on stream, but they nearly ended him, right? And I was like, oh my God, they're not even paying attention to him. They're not even bothered with Yuta because they don't take him seriously. And I think right now it's like fight or flight for him. Like he doesn't know. So that's what I am telling myself. And I will not boo Wheeler Yuta at the next event. Many, like a lot of people do. That's just not me. That's not me. But back to what Mox was saying, he called Jay White a child. He said Hangman was self-destructive. And he was like, Orange Cassidy, come out one more time and I'm going to take you off the board. And here comes Orange Cassidy. And Jon Moxley is on the floor in disbelief. He's got his hands covering his head. He looks like the most stressed out man because Orange Cassidy comes out. Orange basically tells him like, hey, I don't have to be the champ. That's fine. I can live with that. I just can't live with you being the champ. And I was like, oh, he really said that. He really said it. And I was a little scared. But Phil, what did you think about all this?
Orange Cassidy has to stop being wishy-washy, man.
Oh,
all of this stuff, every time he calls this guy to the table, he's like, well, I'm not really a real leader, guys, but I will stand up. Listen, those guys in the back want to follow you. If you're not going to step to the table and be a leader, then what are you doing? And it's the point that Moxley made before you came out there. You guys don't have what it takes to be champion. You don't want to do what needs to be done to be champion. And that's why I have this belt. And then you come out and confirm what he said. I don't really want to be champion, bro. I just don't want you to be champion. Hey, man, if you don't want to do what needs to be done, it's everything Swerve was saying when he was champion. Like, yo, I had to do awful things to hold this belt. If you're not ready to do that, then get back there in the back. What are you doing? And I also love, this is one of the most unintentionally funny things of the night. He comes out there, he takes his shirt off and his jacket up, and he tries to Hulk up. And Marina was just looking around like, let's get this dude. And he just jump him. He just proceeded to stand around him and stomp him. I'm like, wait a minute. Why did you do that then? What did you think was going to happen? You thought they were just going to be like, oh, man, he's got his shirt off, guys. Let's all get out of here. No, there's 4 people in that ring standing around you. How did you think this was going to go? Marina immediately was like, nah, get this dude up out of here.
They SP3, they really jumped that man right after he took off his little jacket and they just went to work.
He wanted to be all tough too. He was just throwing his sunglasses through his jacket, through his shirt. He getting in Marina's face, and Marina just waited until he turned around, just like boom, and just stomped him. And then they was about to kidnap him and freaking waterboard him. Like
They dragged him out of the arena. Cut to commercial, guys. Like, that's how we're cutting to commercial when this guy get pulled out of the arena.
I was like, where's the help? And then when we come back from commercial, they're just talking to FTR. I'm like, FTR, where are y'all? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? I was like, I didn't see the dude that's got kidnapped.
I was so confused. They started to jump Orange, and then they took him into the back, and I was like, where is everyone? Is everybody in catering? What are they serving? Because they must be eating good for them not to be paying attention that Orange Cassidy is literally getting kidnapped. And yeah, we come back from commercial. FTR is giving the most heartfelt speech about Fight for the Fallen, about a hurricane, and then here comes the Death Riders. They are about to pour some strange chemical cleaning substance into Orange Cassidy's mouth, and now FTR comes in. And let me tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of FTR, but I've never been more excited to see FTR get involved in anything. I was like, yes, finally somebody is doing something. And Moxley was like, you know what, we don't have to take this, and he left.
And they did the nice little camera shot over FTR's shoulders where it looked like Moxley was talking right into the camera. That was cool.
I love that not only did they had him hemmed up and they're coming with the chemical again to pour it down his throat. This time they had a funnel. They were like, no, we're going to keep it neat this time. We're going to make sure not a drop misses. We want all of it to go down your throat.
I was like, yo, they took the extra measure. I was like, this is sick and demented stuff, but I'm with it. I'm with the planning because he did warn Orange Cassidy as well. He said, the next time you piss me off, I'm going to end you. So he literally had all the materials in the back to end him. And if it wasn't for FTR swooping in, mind you, FTR waited until they pulled out the funnel and we're about to pour it in. And then it was like, you know what? Now we'll step in. Smack that out of his hand. And then they stepped up with the steel pipes. I'm glad that FTR is involved in this. I'm glad with any of like the top kind of prominently featured acts involved in this storyline. Because I think the thing that's been missing from this storyline is it doesn't feel all encompassing. It doesn't always feel like the top program because a lot of AEW just feels like separate universes. Like we're over here in Death Rider universe. Then we got the C2 universe over here. We also got the Don Callis universe with Will Ospreay feuding with them. Then we'll go over here to the Hurt Syndicate universe, and we got Bobby Lashley and Swerve Strickland. It's just separate things going on. When if this is supposed to be something that's trying to take over the whole company, they have to get a lot of other people involved, a lot of like the top major acts. So I like FTR stepping in here. Gives me hope that maybe we get Adam Copeland getting involved in this storyline because I think that we should be kind of talking more about Adam Copeland potentially coming back within like the next couple of weeks because I think that Asheville show seems like a good place to bring him back if he is ready to come back.
Yeah, and you mentioned Adam Copeland. We did get a super chat from Eric Sibby saying FTR and Adam Copeland win the trios championships. Interessante, I think, sure, they could. I don't see why not. What do you guys think?
I think the thing that works right now with the Moxley stuff is it's kind of the same thing that worked in Infinity War where Thanos came at the perfect time. All the rest of these people were emotionally compromised in the middle of all of these personal things. And it's the same thing right now. He came in at the right time. You've got all of these people that are trying to fight him, but all of the bigger stars have personal issues going on. Swerve is in the middle of this Hurt Syndicate thing. Ospreay is in the middle of fighting one of his best friends. All of these other guys that could help are in the middle of something. Adam Cole is still in this MJF thing for some reason, which very pointedly, Kyle is telling them, like, why are you doing this? People would follow you. You're a born leader, which I think is very intentionally done. I believe that he is going to be the guy that leads the team that wins those trios belts. I don't think it's going to be Copeland and FDR. I think it's going to be Undisputed Era that wins the trios belts.
I just want them to go the step further. Like the whole promo where Kyle O'Reilly came out and was like, "You're too focused on MJF." I needed him to literally say, "You need to focus on the world title. You need to focus on these guys that are trying to end the company. You came out at Wrestle Dream and you've just been not paying attention to them. Stop paying attention to MJF. Focus over here." And I also want John Moxley in a promo. He had a chance here, but he didn't do it. To say, "Hey, I said I was going to tear down AEW and rebuild it anew. Look who the new AEW World Tag Team Champions are. That's because of me. I'm the one that motivated Private Party. I'm the one that motivated Daniel Garcia to become the TNT champion." Because then it will feel like it's having consequence on the rest of the roster. But you kind of, with wrestling fans, you kind of have to hit them over the head with it. You can't just do it and not say it. They have to say something.
Yeah.
They have to say something. Absolutely. Thank you, Eric, for that super chat. I know we talked about Don Callis family with Hobbs earlier. We got to see Kyle Fletcher tonight versus the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, in a Blue League match in the Continental Classic. And I want to talk about commentary before we talk about the match. So Nigel was talking about the upcoming show and how AJ and Big Justice were going to bring the boom. And he says, "Tony, you'll bring the boobs." Nigel Matthew McGuinness. I have no words. Literally a menace on commentary every single Saturday, every pay-per-view that he's on, says some out-of-pocket stuff. Did I laugh? Absolutely. Was it a little bit too much? I was like, oh my God, you can't say that. Like, I was like, sir, please, you need to control yourself. Do you have any thoughts on Nigel on commentary before we start talking about the match, Phil?
I immediately was like, wait a minute, what? And then what made it even funnier is like seconds later, Tony's like, "Thanks for that," and that made it immediately funny. I was like, "Oh, Tony."
He hits him so late. It's like a whiplash. Like the joke went over his head and then hit him upside the back of the head, and then he just says, "Thanks for that."
He stresses people out for no reason. And yeah, Tony Schiavone was like, all right, I guess I'll have to take that. I mean, no comeback, no nothing. He just said, thank you. And then he moved on with commentating this match. Some might call it the first main event of the night. And by some, I mean me. I thought this was a main event match. These guys went at it and I absolutely loved it. This is the second time that Kyle has faced Okada. So we kind of knew what to expect, but not really, because it's Okada. Like, you cannot go out there and get too cocky with yourself. And I think that's what happened with Kyle. But Okada got the elbow drop from the top rope, middle finger afterwards in true Okada fashion. And Fletcher hit this huge Everest power bomb on the champion. And it was absolutely incredible to see, like, the power that we've been able to see from Kyle Fletcher as he's gone on week after week. He has really changed so much and only improved for the better. Like, absolutely love how he looks right now in the ring. It's 10 out of 10. Then there was some messiness with the ref, and this is where I had a little bit of issues. But Kyle picks up the win by a low blow because the ref was distracted. He was like in the way, but he wasn't in the way, but he didn't want to get hurt. And I was like, oh my goodness, is this how we are going to start winning, Kyle? Like, first you're holding on to the ropes. Now you got a low blow. He's leading in the Blue League though with 9 points. Phil, are we on the right track with Kyle? Like, is this the kind of wins that he wants to be getting? I know he's in the Don Callis family, but is this the right place for him?
Man, what a year for Kyle Fletcher, man. He's had like 3 banger matches in a row. Had the incredible television match with Shelton. Had that great pay-per-view match with Ospreay. And he's come out of all of this stuff with Ospreay hungry. Like, yo, I'm going to beat this guy. I don't care if I got to cheat. I don't care how we get here. I'm going to win this match. And I love that Okada has this way in his matches. If you watch him in New Japan, he'll go slow for most of the match, and then he really picks it up in the final stretch of the match. And I think he's underestimated his opponents coming into this, because he started these matches slow, but he's been used to, in a good amount of his time with AEW, using the numbers game, cheating, and doing all these other things. And it was very funny to see him get beaten by his own tactics in this match by by a younger, more hungry guy, and he stole his win away from him. What an upset. I did not expect Okada to lose here, but man, I just love that they're following up on the stuff from the pay-per-view. It's not just Fletcher picked up this big win, entered the tournament, had some fun matches. No, he's actually beating people. He is leading by far, up 9 points currently, with everybody else lagging behind him. I thought that this was the best booking decision for Fletcher coming out of this. And I think there's a good chance that he could end up at least going to semifinals of this thing. Like, he's got a very good chance. He's looking pretty phenomenal.
I hadn't even thought about a winner of this tournament until you mentioned it. But yeah, I mean, SP3, does it look like Kyle has a really good chance of winning this? Or at least making it very far?
I said there's 3 possible winners that I could see winning this. It's Okada, Ospreay, or Fletcher. Fletcher is the hot product coming out of the Full Gear matchup, the match of a lifetime, star-making performance versus Will Ospreay. But I like how he's worked the last 2 matches. With Shelton Benjamin, he was very kind of hesitant in the early going. He would go to the outside. He would kind of stall for time. This one, he was 100% confident. And I love the difference because he had never faced Shelton Benjamin, but he has faced Okada. And, you know, he came in as the fiery babyface in their match. I think this was back in like the summer. And now he's come in as this like cocky upstart babyface. Heel who's just so narcissistic, just so full of himself, posing after he just got like 1 knockdown in the matchup. And then it came back to haunt him. And it's basically like the juxtaposition of their first Continental Championship matchup where Okada tried to work the Okada style, as we New Japan fans like me and Phil call it, of I'm going to do things slow. I'm going to stall for time, first 10 minutes, and then I'm going to speed things up. I'm going to try to pull out the win. But then it was Kyle doing what Okada did when he was the champion, which was when it came time, like late in the matchup, I'm just going to go to the outside. I'm going to stall for time. I'm going to try to get this time limit. And that's what Kyle did. He gets hit with a big move and he just goes outside the ring and then he winds up hitting the half and half suplex on the outside. And then also in their first match, Okada cheated. Okada used a low blow to beat him. And then Kyle does it to him here.
I love it.
I love the booking here. This was probably my favorite match so far of the Continental Classic because despite me going into this tournament saying, I looked at the Blue League and I was like, Okada can either go undefeated or there's only one person who's going to beat him. It's Kyle Fletcher. I was still shocked when it happened. I was like, oh my God, they really did this. This is great. I love the Kyle Fletcher push right now.
The other thing I love about this, if you follow New Japan as well, Okada and Ospreay had a thing for a long time. Ospreay could not get over that hump with Okada for a long time. This is another thing on a notch of his belt of Kyle saying, I am not Ospreay. I can beat this guy. I love that.
And he did it on his own. It took Will Ospreay like 8 matches to finally beat Okada on his own. First time he beat him was because of Great Okan, and then he finally was last year. And mind you, this is only the 5th loss Okada has taken in the past 2 years. Like, this is his second loss in AEW after Bryan Danielson beat him for the world title. And then this is his 5th loss overall from 2023 on to this year. That's how rare Okada loses. So this is a big deal for Kyle Fletcher.
That's crazy. I mean, Kyle is probably my fave to win the tournament. This, like I said, it was technically the first main event of the night for me, but this was my favorite match of the night. I think it's gonna hold up when we watch it probably years from now. We're gonna be like, this is hilarious, this is great. This is probably gonna be one of the matches that we remember in his career. Absolutely. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and he's now leading the Blue League, so 9 points to Kyle. Good for him. Maybe Hobbs will be in the tournament next year. Let's move on and talk about Beast Mortos in the ring, which honestly, I mentioned it earlier. I was like, who is that man in the ring with him? Didn't get a single entrance, and he had like 2 little pigtails, and I was like, is that Aaron Solo? And it was Aaron Solo. I honestly have no comments for me. I don't have anything to say about this. Didn't think it was good. Didn't think it was bad. No constructive criticism on my part. Phil, you're laughing, but what did you think about this 20-second match?
I just thought it was funny that you were like, wait a minute, is this Aaron Solo? Enough of this. Get this out of here. I think that in itself is really funny. But no, this was a perfect showcase of what Mortos can do here. It was just kind of a quick filler match in between the tournament matches. So I was fine with it. Mortos is another guy that has been used a lot on Collision. So this made sense. Quick squash match for him to get on the show. Nothing to write home about.
Yeah, SP3.
I would have liked for Private Party to get some promo time instead of Beast Mortos, who's in the Continental Classic tournament, having a random 20-second matchup. I think that we could have used this time in a better way, because it literally, once I saw this matchup happening, I was like, they're probably going to announce his next Continental Classic matchup right after the match. And then literally right after the win, it's always versus Okada next week. I was like, so you literally told us why this happened. Because they said it at the beginning of the matchup. It was like, Jake Roberts isn't here. So they couldn't do a backstage promo to set up the matchup. So they had to do a 20-second matchup.
Yeah. You could have had it like grunting into the camera with some subtitles on the bottom. Like,
oh, that would have been awesome.
That would have been so much more better. And then you'd be like, oh, and next week he's going to be like, that would have just been so much more fun. Even if you don't have somebody there, I feel like you can add a little bit of creativity to it. You don't just have to have him having squash matches with Aaron Solo, who I don't know what Aaron's doing on a weekly basis, but he was here tonight. So
what Solo did to you? Why why are you so mad at him? What did he do?
I'm so sorry if you're watching this right now, Aaron Solo. He didn't have, like, he wasn't prepared. He didn't look like his gear was like ready to fight. Honestly, that's where it starts. If your gear is not on point, you're not winning. But yeah, let's talk about some more backstage drama. We got to see Lio Rush and Action Andretti on one side, and Darius and Dante Martin. They were all arguing, why couldn't we get on the same page? You threw me over the top rope, and no, now we have to fight. So now we're fighting next week. I'm very excited about this, because I know they're all high flyers. They're just so good, and they're really quick in the ring. And I do love the style of Top Flight. I was really hopeful that we were going to get this group a little bit longer, but now it seems like we're done. Like, we've moved away. Like, now we're fighting each other. Phil, what are your thoughts on this? Did you want more of Top Flight, or are you okay with them going their separate ways?
Top Flight works best at babyface, and Leo has been doing this little sneaky grin. He's been doing all of this stuff that I'm like, this guy is just etching to turn heel. He got that card from MVP, and he was looking around like, I kind of want to be over there coming out of that other tunnel, man. Like, these guys coming out here with these pilot suits and the rest of this stuff, bro. Like, I'm ready to get to it, bro. And I first noticed this for real when he had that match a few weeks ago with Swerve, and Swerve is getting jumped, and the whole time he's like standing on the other side of the ring, not helping Swerve at all. He's just like, oh, none of my problem. So I'm like, yeah, he's been waiting to turn heel. And and even when this started, he's standing there, and they both have their sunglasses on. I'm like, see, you know they're bad guys because they're cool. They both have the sunglasses on. These guys, they don't know what time it is, man. He's been trying to tell y'all, like, bro, what are we doing, man? We're supposed to be winning, bro. We're supposed to be looking good. We're supposed to be winners. So I'm ready. I think this match is going to be good. One of my favorite all-time AEW matches included two of the guys standing there. That tag match they had with Lee Moriarty and Seidel. One of the all-time great AEW matches. So I have no doubt that when we do get the match with these two teams, it's going to be a lot of fun. And Leo's just better as a heel, man. Just let him be a heel. Let him talk his shit. That's what we want to see him do.
SP3, do you agree with Phil? Are we ready for Leo as a heel? Maybe not in the Hurt Syndicate, but in there.
I wouldn't mind him in the Hurt Syndicate, if we're being honest, but I wouldn't mind Leo just being a heel, because I think it's more of a natural role for him on U.S. Television wrestling product. If this was New Japan, I would say, hey, but let him be a babyface, because he was holding freaking Japanese babies last year in the Best of Super Juniors. So like they love him out there, but here on U.S. television, I think he's got a higher ceiling as a heel. I've been liking Action Andretti showing a bit of his personality since he's been teasing this heel turn. I just couldn't get into a lot of the dialogue because kind of everyone except for Leo did not sound natural in this segment.
Yeah.
So It was hard. It was hard for me to really, when Nick said these Minnesota morons, I was like, what, am I watching a Disney Channel production? Like, what are we doing?
So you would prefer him to join Hurt Syndicate and put a suit on and not wear their spiky bubble gooses that they've been wearing?
I mean, no spicy, but the bubble gooses look good. And he was even rocking them when they was rocking the male stripper flight attendant outfit. So
again, he been trying to tell y'all, bro, like, I want to look good, bro. I'm trying to look different. Y'all are trying to come in here with this. What is this? Like, nah, dog.
What I will say about Lio Rush, definitely give him the mic. And I need a remake of him yelling, Lashley, Lashley, and having the crowd behind it. Honestly, that was top tier for me when he was on that mic. Lashley.
Action.
Give him the mic. Give him the mic because he does his best work on the mic. But yeah, I'm really excited about that match. Let's get to more women's action. We got 2 women's matches tonight. Okay, Tony Khan, we see you. We got to see Mina Shirakawa versus Emi Sakura, and Thunder Rosa was in the crowd. And I was like, okay, she might get involved. I was a little worried. But it's okay. She didn't get involved. 10 out of 10. Emi was biting Mina. First, she bit her in the shin, bit her in the hand, and I was like, Emi, girl, you are strong, because when she was holding Mina upside down and showing her to the 4 sides of the room, I was like, all right, she's really about that life. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. But neither women held back in this match, and honestly, excellent use of the referee in this match. Mina picks up the win. SP3, thoughts on the use of the ref in this match, because it was a little different than the Okada and Kyle Fletcher match.
I was so confused. I was like, why are you still bending over? I'm very confused why you're still bending. Is she holding you down, or are you just bending over so she could do the spot? Oh, so she can do the spot. Okay, cool. But no, I thought this was a pretty decent matchup here. Mina Shirakawa getting a win over someone of a little bit more kind of higher status than her previous wins on Collision. I think she first like Layla Gray and stuff like that. Emi Sakura is someone who can give her more of a hard-hitting style matchup, similar to what she's going to get from Mariah May. Thunder Rosa being out in the crowd also sets up Thunder Rosa kind of to be the next challenger in. So I think this accomplished a lot. So I had no issues with this.
Yeah. Phil, what did you think about this second women's match of the night?
I thought it was a good use of Emi Sakura. You've got the match coming up next week. Winner is coming. Instead of just going, oh, we've done all the story elements, we've done the promo packages, and we got a really good video package after this. But let's remind people, Mina Shirakawa is a good wrestler. Emi Sakura works well in this matchup as a showcase for her. I thought that this was smart. Like SP3 at one point during this ref thing, I was sitting there like, what's happening here? Oh, okay, we're just doing that so we can get to there. All right, that's where we're going. Okay.
They could have done it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, or have like Emi hold his hand, like so it looks like Emi is the one that's keeping him down in that position instead of him just saying, "Okay, you're gonna do the spot now. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. Okay." Cool.
His shoe be untied and be like, "Oh wait, I got to tie my shoe really quick." That's my job as a ref. I gotta make sure everything's good to go.
Maybe he saw a dime on the ground and he was trying to pick it up and like put it in his pocket.
Could have slipped up from somebody's outfit. Eric Sibby is again here with another super chat. He said, at first I thought Mina was going to lose, but tonight I think that she's gonna pick up a win at Winter is Coming. Yeah, I mean,
I don't see it.
I wouldn't be mad at it, but it sure feels like they are building towards Toni Storm coming back. If Toni Storm comes back, I have to believe we're going to get a rematch. She is out there chopping down trees and chopping wood and telling people chins down, tits down. And, you know, she's trying to get through this funk. It's very similar to what Kenny Omega is doing as well, of walking around like, well, they don't really need me anymore. They seem to be doing fine. I'm retired. I'm not coming back. This is clearly getting us to that Australia show. I do think she'll be back by then. Yeah. And if that's the case, I do not see Mariah losing that belt until then.
It's interesting to see. SP3 will get your thoughts on this after we hear from our sponsor, and then we will talk about the main event.
All right.
Is your sex life stuck in developmental? Well, get ready for a call up with BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but how about this? No awkward in-person visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's shipped straight to your door in a discreet package. But let me tell you, your package is not going to be discreet when you use Blue Chew, and the code FIGHTFUL helps give you that confidence, that performance to take you straight to the main event, if you know what I'm saying. When approved online by one of our physicians, it just arrives straight to your door. You're not going to have people nosing around with what you're doing, and right now you get your first shipment free when you use the code FIGHTFUL. Go straight to the top, if you know what I mean. Memorable performance, high spot, whatever other innuendos you can think of, BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
Shout outs to you, Sean Ross Sapp, because those reads always get me. Like, I absolutely can't. But shout outs to him. Shout outs to Blue Chew, I guess. And we
Listen, if you don't want to stay down like that ref, if you want to be straight up, standing straight up, Blue Chew is the place to go. Promo code FIGHTFUL.
Promo code FIGHTFUL.
Had the perfect segue, just staring right at us, Phil, with the slam dunk.
You really took it home on that one, Phil. Oh man. All right, let's talk about this main event. We got to see Mark Briscoe versus Danny Garcia. And interesting that they showed what happened last night on Rampage when they were talking to Renee, and Mark Briscoe was saying like, I'm not really good at these things. And I was like, sir, you just have to believe in yourself.
It's that time of the year, when that time of the year, when the Continental Classic, it was just last year in the same position. I ain't had no wins, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pick myself up and I'm going to beat you. I'm going to wrestle Danny G. I really like you, man. I really like you a lot. And I know you're going to bring that fight. So when we do this tomorrow on Collision, it's going to be a good time.
And if you didn't watch that promo, it's okay, because SP3 just the exact same thing. Exactly.
I got the mannerisms. He does it like a 12-year-old white kid that wants to rap. So like he just was like a bunch of shoulder shrugs, but he does it natural.
It looks like he's like trying to adjust his imaginary coat that's falling off the whole time. He wants to make sure his coat stays on his shoulders.
It's he had a jacket on. He forgot he's not wearing it anymore and is still adjusting. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So he brought that up, and all of that to pick up a win tonight, which I was absolutely surprised by. No shade to Danny Garcia, last week ended up in a draw, I believe. And I was like, okay, Danny, of course, good for him. He is a champion right now. But like, yeah, Mark picking up the win. I was like, wow, very, very surprised. Were you guys just as surprised as I was?
Yeah, I was very surprised to see Mark pick up the win here. I was just saying earlier on Grapsody just how much a revelation this guy has been as a television wrestler for the past year. Incredibly entertaining with the promos. His matches have been a lot of fun. First time matches with him across the board, and he's been killing it. He was great here in this match. I did not expect him to pick up the win, but hey man, salute to Mark, man. Big win for him.
Yeah, SP3, he got his first 3 points on the board tonight. Good for him.
Yeah, such an improvement from last year. It took the last matchup and he beat Jay Lethal. This year he beat the TNT champion, and he didn't do it with the J Driller, didn't do it with the Froggy Bow. This man busted out the Cutthroat Driver. I felt like a teenager, SP3, watching those old Ring of Honor tapes with the bad reception and the bad visuals, but he used to bust out that Cutthroat Driver. It was, oh man, really enjoyed this matchup. They really kind of took it to different gears at every turn, like with the little forearms when they're like, all right, bet. and then just start slugging with each other. You could hear the crowd really getting into things down the stretch, and you did not know which way it was going to go. I honestly thought it was going to be over when Danny busted out the jackknife pin, because I'm like, he always gets to win with those jackknife pins.
Yeah.
So I thought that was over. I like them teasing to go for the power driver off the top rope, because it shows how much he's willing to do to get the win here. But I like Mark just pulling out something that Danny wasn't ready for. He was probably ready for the J Driller. He was always prepared for the Froggy Bow throughout this matchup. He had to bust out his original finisher to get the win. So great storytelling and an excellent main event to the show.
Yeah, they really emphasized the 20-minute time limit on commentary at the very top of this match, which made me worried. I was like, okay, Interessante commentary, why would you mention that? Like, you guys don't do anything on that's not intentional. But yeah, I was thinking this match was going to end in a draw. I was like, we've already seen it happen. And one of the person who got the draw is in this match. And I don't see Danny losing. And I was very happily surprised. I didn't mind it, because yes, people are going to get losses in this match, but you still can wrestle next week, which when this whole tournament started, I was very confused initially in AEW. I didn't understand the point system. I thought you lose, you're out. And then I was like, why am I seeing these people wrestle again next week? We just saw them. But now I got it. It's in there. Great. Thank you. I've learned. But yeah, I was like, okay, great for Mark Briscoe. Maybe he's on the up and up now. And I hope this tournament does him a little bit of justice. But yeah, overall tonight, what did you guys think of the show? Phil, we'll start with you.
I thought this was a really good episode all around. The Continental Classic, again, for a second year in a row, has made the product better. This was one of the best episodes of Rampage all year last night, and I thought we had a strong episode of Collision today.
Yeah, SP3, what did you think about the entirety of the show tonight?
This show was really good, and I think it finished off probably the best week of television AEW has had since this past summer. I thought like the road to All In was really strong, but since All In, All Out, I think the TV has kind of been inconsistent, but this week had some strong television across the board. I thought Dynamite was the best crowd and kind of like the best overall show we've seen in a couple of weeks. Rampage was the best show of the year because we got 3 Continental Classic matches, and then all 3 Continental Classic matches on this show were great, plus the other stuff, the Mina Shirakawa, Mariah May, Thunder Rosa stuff, that was good. The women being featured more on Collision is always a positive to the show. So really enjoyed tonight.
Yeah, I thought it was great overall. There were some things that I could have gone without, Aaron Solo and Beast Mortos. I feel like we could have gotten, I know, Philly, you're about to laugh. I feel like we could have gotten more of the women, but I do love that we got 2 women's matches. I think Willow seems really, really strong. I'm super excited to see her against Jamie Hayter. And yeah, I mean, great for everyone who won tonight. I am really upset that Juice Robinson got injured. I think he would have done really, really great in this tournament. We're all wishing him a speedy recovery, but yeah, I thought tonight was a really, really great episode of Collision. And I'm so sorry, like I said in the beginning of the stream, that your guys's, Collision Cowboy hats did not make it. So maybe tomorrow, I'll check the FedEx little tracking numbers. And then we'll see. Phil, yours will probably get there tomorrow because we live literally like in the same city. So they should be it should be there closer. But thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I had an absolute blast. Phil, where can our Fightful fans and listeners and followers find you on social media and every week on Grab City?
You can find me on Twitter still. I'm basically on autopilot there, but the account still exists. It's not nuked. SatfieldDO616 on Twitter. But I'm mostly over there where skies are blue and grass is green. PhilLindsey.bsk.socials. But also can find me every Saturday at noon Eastern, co-hosting Grapsity with Righteous Reg. Hopefully my laptop doesn't explode within the next few days.
No, I mean, it was great on the stream tonight.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 for your laptop doing all the hard work tonight.
Pulled out an upset at the last minute.
Fight from underneath.
SP3, where can our viewers find you?
They can find me over on the Twitter machine. Yeah, I'm one of the last survivors. I'm like Rick on The Walking Dead. You can follow me at Drew Hill SV3 over there on the Twitter machine. You can find me here on the Fightful main channel every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, with Kate reviewing Ring of Honor TV as we're on the road to Final Battle. And a WWE Raw match is main eventing with Chris Jericho versus Zack Ryder. But hey, it's Ring of Honor, so we're going to talk about it. We're going to have a good time talking about it. So join us every Thursday.
You know it.
You can find me over on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, usually every day over there. We got content. We did our flagship podcast over there earlier today, so go over and check it out. And thank you guys for having me on the show this week. Always have a good time talking to Phil, and always have a good time talking to you, Iridian.
Thank you guys so much. Like I said, I had such a blast. You guys were absolutely fantastic. And every Saturday, you can find me here with Cresta and Rick on the AEW Collision post show here on Fightful. And of course, make sure you guys go over to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rest Friends. That's WREST Friends. It's Wrestling Friends in one word. And I have a bunch of interviews. I have vlogs. I have unboxings of AEW cards, literally everything wrestling related I do over there. And yeah, follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, which will be banned next year, but your girl's still there for the next 3 weeks. So like I said, thank you guys so much again. And thank you guys for watching. We absolutely appreciate all of your comments and conversations that you guys had. Shout outs to Drew for keeping us all in check tonight. We will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye.